The Dogman movie has just dropped in theaters very recently. Has it lived up to the hype? Welcome back to the Shortwave Show, everyone. Glad you could tune in. And to just hop right into the review for the Dogman movie. This is a film where I think its biggest strength is the animation. The style of animation they use is great, where it combines some two-dimensional and three-dimensional stuff. Just very similar to a lot of animated movies in recent years. A lot of them being made by Dreamworks like this. And obviously this is based off of the book series, and it definitely captures that vibe. And as a matter of fact, it takes a lot of plot lines from books like 1 through 7, and just some different references to different things. And similar to the Captain Underpants movie, this kind of combines things from all these different books while still having some new stuff. It's just a very good blend. And this movie itself is actually very hyperactive. It definitely feels like it was made for people with short attention spans. It's definitely unique, but it seems like it kind of rushes through some stuff at the beginning. Because I've read every single Dogman book, I was able to keep up with everything that was going on. But for people that aren't fans of the books and haven't read them, I'm not really sure they would be able to keep up with it. So I don't think the movie did the best job of making sure those people would be able to keep up with it. Still though, there's a lot of great stuff here. The characters are all very distinct from one another. They just have wildly different personalities, and all of the voice acting is really good, especially Pete Davidson as the voice of Petey the cat. Speaking of which, Petey definitely carried the movie. He was the standout character, and kind of like the books, Petey and Little Petey kind of overshadow Dogman. Still though, overall this is a really funny movie.
That's not fair! Call this number!
Life's not fair.
What?
Life's not fair.
There's some jokes in here that aren't anything too crazy, but for the most part, it definitely keeps you entertained. The following portion of the video contains spoilers. Please proceed with caution. So as I said, this kind of adapts different plot lines from books like 1 through 7, but some of the stuff actually doesn't seem like it was necessary to put in the movie. Most notably, they did bring Petey's dad into the story, and to be completely honest, he really doesn't add anything other than the fact that he steals all their stuff at the end. But even then, they could have just not done that, and I did enjoy seeing him, but as I said, he just doesn't really affect the story. And then there's some characters like Big Jim, who I just think could have had a bigger role. And of course, there are just some little Easter eggs in this movie. Like in the final battle, I noticed a George and Harold cameo, but again, it doesn't really add anything to the story. It's just a nice little thing. And just with all of this stuff going on in the movie, I'm not the biggest fan of how they just kind of skipped Flippy's origin story, and they just had the chief explaining it to Dogman instead of actually showing it. I feel like the movie could have been a little bit longer for that. And overall, while I didn't mind there were some changes from the books in this movie, I don't necessarily know why they had Petey have a new butler than from the books. I kind of would have liked to see the original one. Still though, at the end of the day, this movie is pretty much what I was expecting it to be. And I will say, since it takes place in this fictional universe supposed to be created by George and Harold where nothing makes sense, that does kind of make it to where there's not as much tension because you know that nobody's going to die. But still, nonetheless, it's pretty entertaining, and I would say I definitely prefer the Captain Underpants movie. I just feel like that was a better made film. But this definitely works in and of itself. And they can definitely do a sequel combining plot lines from other books, like bringing in the Fleas, the evil doctor guy, the new mayor. Big Jim could have a bigger role, and they could use the Bark Knight suit. Because at the end of the day, this movie was pretty good, and it does feel like it had some heart put into it. So overall, on the quality scale of 0 to 100, I'll give it a 79%. And if you're a fan of Dogman and these types of things, I would definitely recommend it. But if you have seen it, let me know what you think about it in the comments section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.